The best ways to save money on a low income. In today's day and age in the United States, the cost of living is getting higher. Income is not, wages aren't changing, they're not getting larger. And, it's costing far more to live and we're not making any more money. So if you don't make a ton of money, I'm going to tell you guys exactly how to save money if you're not making a ton of money. And you can apply this to whatever situation you're in. If you make a ton of money, do this too and you'll save more money. But I also completely understand that if you don't make a ton of money, it's really hard to not live paycheck by paycheck, right? It's really hard to save and set aside money. So I'm gonna go over the major principles that you need to do to save money. And we're gonna go through all of them. And it's not as complex as you think. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel here. There are just some big things that you can eventually change that if you change them all, you'll start saving money and you won't be in the situation you are today. So let's get into it. All right, number one on the list, and this is like super self-explanatory, but I have to say it anyways, it's eliminate debt. Work more and get rid of your debt. It's amazing what will happen when you're not repaying your credit cards, when you don't have a car bill or whatever it is. Don't have any debt, right? It's not that hard. And I know that sounds crazy, but I genuinely think almost everybody can just get out of debt, right? Even the people that go on Caleb Hammer and have this ridiculous amount of debt. They have so much debt in such a crazy situation that they have to go into a show and they're being a show that's watched by millions of people, right? Those are the worst case scenarios, right? I think we both can agree that. And even those people can get out of debt in 2 or 3 years. So you can get out of debt. All you need to do, work more hours. Yeah, if you are working 40 hours and you're about to work 60 hours or 80 hours, sucks, but you put yourself in that situation. You got yourself into debt, get yourself out of debt. The second you get out of your debt, life-changing. All of a sudden you'll have more money than you thought. You're gonna be saving it. You're gonna have to figure out what to do. Eliminate your debt. That's step one. Step two, if your car is worth more than $4,000 or you paid more than $4,000, you're driving the wrong car, sell it. Even if you're underwater, figure out how to get out of your car. You can buy a $4,000 car that's gonna last you years. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be reliable, all those things. Go to a trusted mechanic and you'll find one. If you want just like the keys to the kingdom, a 2008, a 2007, a 2009 Mazda 3 with 120,000 miles on it, automatic, either a hatch or a four-door. It's gonna be mechanically sound. Have a mechanic take a look at it. They're cheap to work on if anything does go wrong. They rust a little bit. Rust is a great way to get the price down. It's not really gonna affect much. Have a mechanic look at it. $4 grand. If you don't believe me, I bought one 3 years ago for $2,300 and I put 50,000 miles on it because I was driving for work, right? Well, you know what this does? Buying a $4,000 car or owning a $4,000 car, it wipes stupid car debt, right? Cars keep people poor. There's no reason you should have a car more than $4 grand. If you're watching this video, right? If you make, and I'm gonna be flat here, if you make under $60,000 a year, no matter where you live in the US, $4,000 car. You can't afford anything more, right? There's no mathematical way to stay out of debt and have a more expensive car. It's one thing to have a $4,000 car, save some money, and if you're passionate about it, trade in your $4,000 car and get something a little bit more. But if you can't comfortably buy a $4,000 car right now with no loan, you got a problem, right? You can't afford a car, but a $4,000 car is doable. That's step number two. That's an easy one. Mazda 3. If you want the cheat code, keys to the kingdom, it's not the first time I've done it with a Mazda 3. Mazda 3, right? I've had 2 in my life because they were like cheap, they last forever, no problems. If you got a problem, they're really cheap to work on. Number 3 is a hard pill to swallow. Cheap rent, live in the hood, whatever it is. Don't pay a lot for rent. Don't live at home. I'm not a big believer of living at home. I know it saves money, but the psychological effect that can have long term about generating income is not good. Just cheap rent. 1 year sacrificing where you live for a cheaper rent could be life-changing, especially if you're paying off your debt and you're just trying to have extra money at the end of the year or at the end of the paycheck, right? We're not even talking about investing or anything like this. We're just talking about how do you save money? Lower your costs. What's a big cost? What's one of the biggest costs that is going to be in front of you? Statistically should be your biggest cost, right? Should be your biggest bill is your rent. Lower it. It's that easy. Find somewhere else. Break your lease if you need to. There are cheaper places to live that are still safe, that are still okay environments. Sacrifice, buy a place that doesn't have all the amenities that you're looking for. Do it for a year. Get out of your situation and then go rent someplace that's nice, you know? Like don't settle for the middle. Get a nice place because you can afford it. You don't have your debt payments. You've saved some money up, all those things. All right, controversial, we're getting into it. Meal prep, right? I know this is gonna hit home for a lot of you guys. Food is a comfort thing, right? Food's great. It's an awesome part of enjoying living, being a human being. It costs a lot of money. If you meal prep, you don't need to do it. Like Caleb Hammer, good show, right? Obviously he says $250 a month you can live off of and be healthy. I'll go one step further. I run ultra marathons. A lot of the food that I eat is very dieted. I've got an ultra marathon coming up in 4 weeks. My diet is the same thing, 7 days a week. It's extraordinarily healthy. It's the same thing because I need to feel good and have my body fueled for my running and my long running, right? I spend like $180 a month right now, and I'm eating for somebody that's burning significantly more calories than you. I'm training for an ultra marathon and I weigh over 200 pounds, right? So I'm burning way more calories than the average viewer here. So that means I'm probably eating double what most of you guys are on a daily basis, right? Just out of clarity. Right now I'm at like almost 4,500 calories a day. Most of you guys are gonna eat like 2,500 calories. If I can do that for under $200, you can certainly do it as well. Meal prep, bring your cost of food down, right? We're just trying to save some money, get some money in the bank account. You don't have to do it forever. We're just saving some money to get on the side to help us in the long run. And here's the one that hurts the most and why I left it for the last part, but it's the truth. It's the only thing that you can do, and I've talked about it a little bit across the board here, is work more. And I know that that's something that sucks, right? And working sucks. There's no other way around it. None of us would work if we didn't have to, or we'd do something completely different to follow a passion, right? But the reality is you just have to work more. To get out of the situation to save money, you've got to work more. There's not money trees. There's no secret. You're not going to find gold on your next hike. You might. My chemistry teacher in high school did actually one time, but it was like the 1970s when he found the gold. But yeah, he kicked a big rock and it was a big thing of gold, right? Crazy, it happens. You're not going to do it. So the short answer is you just need to work more. You need to generate more income, and that's going to help you do all the things I just talked about, which will then, when you reduce your hours and you work a normal 40-hour work week, you'll, one, be saving money because you don't have all those other costs, and two, you'll have saved money, so it's a little less urgent. And then you can start thinking about things like investing and getting out of the rut you're in. But first, it's just getting to the point where working 40 hours will save you money. If you can't save money off your current paycheck, right? If you're not putting stuff aside every single check, right? You need to work more, right? You need to do all the things I just talked about, but you also need to work more, right? And I can just blanket statement. If you're not saving money every single paycheck, you gotta work more. Step number one, work more. If you don't want to be in that situation, you've got to suffer. You've got to work more, because you know who got you into the situation that you're in right now? You. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but everybody needs to hear it. You put yourself in this situation. There are a rare few people that have medical issues, have things that are out of their control, that have put them into a situation where it's a tough situation, right? If that applies for you, do all the things that I talked about, but you also have an extenuating circumstance. If you haven't been like leveled by a car or have crazy medical debt for something that was life-threatening or something like that, you put yourself in the situation you're in, right? For most of us, that's the case. So get yourself out. It's that easy. I'll see you guys in the next video.